They say every woman has hidden desires men rarely notice. Allegedly, mastering these female psychology secrets could make you irresistible without changing a thing about yourself. Curious to find out what's been right under your nose this whole time? Keep watching and smash that subscribe button so you never miss out. Secret 1. The hidden power of listening. Ever had a conversation where you felt like you said all the right things, but somehow everything still went wrong? Here's what many men never realize. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all. Let's say your partner is upset. You want to help, so you jump in with advice. But instead of gratitude, you get silence. Or worse, frustration. What happened? The answer lies in one simple truth. Many women value feeling understood more than being fixed. Real listening isn't about waiting for your turn to talk. It's about truly hearing someone without judgment. When you give that kind of space, it creates something rare, emotional safety. And here's the twist. Once someone feels heard, they're often more open to solutions, on their own terms. Listening isn't passive. It's one of the most powerful things you can offer. But here's where it gets tricky. Silence isn't always golden. We'll talk about when not speaking can actually make things worse. Stay tuned for that. Secret 2. Emotional energy leaves clues. Have you ever walked into a room and just felt something was off before anyone said a word? That's emotional energy. It's the silent communicator we often ignore, even though it speaks volumes. Women are especially tuned into emotional undercurrents. A change in your tone, a pause in your response, or even a subtle shift in body language. It's all noticed. Not in a critical way, but as part of how they connect. Let me tell you about a friend named Mark. He used to think being emotionally neutral kept things simple. But his partner often said he felt distant, even when he was right there beside her. What changed everything? He started showing what he was feeling in small ways. A gentle hand on her shoulder, a simple "I get it" when she vented, that shift made her feel safe and seen. Here's the big idea. Emotional connection doesn't require grand gestures. It starts with noticing what's unspoken and matching it with care. Still with me? Good. Because next, we're diving into the surprising reasons some compliments fall flat, even when they come from the heart. Secret 3. Why compliments work, but only the right ones. Everyone loves a compliment, right? Not always. Here's where many guys go wrong. They offer surface-level praise about looks or style, expecting appreciation, but sometimes it doesn't land. Why? Because real connection often comes from deeper recognition. Imagine this. You tell someone, "You look nice today." It's kind, but it could be said to anyone. Now picture saying, "But I really admire how you handled that situation earlier. You were calm and clear, even when it was stressful." That hits different. That's a compliment that reflects attention and thought. Women, like anyone, want to feel seen, not just observed. So next time you're about to give praise, ask yourself, is this personal or just polite? Speaking of the personal, let's talk about how your everyday actions say more than words ever could. Secret 4. Actions speak louder than words. You've probably heard this 100 times, but here's a twist. It's the small, boring actions that matter most. No, really. It's not the roses on Valentine's Day or surprise dinners that build deep connections. It's showing up every day with consistency. Remember Ryan? A guy I knew who always promised to call back, but rarely did. Eventually, those broken promises chipped away at trust, even though his intentions were good. Your actions shape how safe, respected, and valued someone feels around you. Simple things like remembering important dates, showing up on time, or being present when they talk. These are quiet love notes that speak louder than grand declarations. But what happens when you're doing all this and still feel disconnected? That brings us to the next secret, and it's all about something people confuse for arrogance. Secret 5. How subtle confidence changes everything. There's a misconception that confidence is loud, but in reality, the most powerful confidence is quiet. It's not about dominating a room or proving anything. It's about being centered in who you are. And trust me, that presence is magnetic. I once met a guy named Leo. He wasn't flashy or loud, but people naturally listened when he spoke. Why? Because he didn't try to impress. He just was. And that quiet assurance made others feel at ease. Here's the key. Confidence isn't about having all the answers. It's about being okay with where you are and open to learning. Want to build that quiet confidence? Start with small wins. Keep promises to yourself, learn new things, and stay grounded. But confidence alone won't sustain a bond. The next secret adds something you can't fake: genuine curiosity. Secret Chapter 6. The magic of genuine curiosity. You know what's more powerful than charm? Curiosity. People open up when they feel someone is truly interested in their world. Not just their appearance or their story, but their thoughts, quirks, and dreams. Think back to the last time someone asked you a question that made you pause and think, wow, they really want to know me. That feeling sticks. It creates emotional glue. Asking thoughtful questions like, what's been inspiring you lately? Or what's something people often misunderstand about you? Can create deeper conversations that go far beyond the surface. Stay curious. It shows you care, and it helps you grow too. Up next, we'll explore a secret that's not talked about enough, yet it's one of the biggest factors in long-lasting connection. Secret 7, the untold impact of emotional safety. Emotional safety. It's invisible, but it makes all the difference. Here's what it looks like. Being able to share without fear of judgment, knowing you won't be mocked or ignored for being vulnerable. Let me tell you about Lillian Jordan. She once said, I love that I can cry in front of him and not feel embarrassed. That wasn't about him having the right words. It was about his quiet acceptance. That's emotional safety. When someone feels emotionally safe, they're more open, more affectionate, and more trusting. And here's the thing, you don't need to fix, solve, or lecture. You just need to be present and kind. This builds the foundation for something even deeper, growth. Which brings us to the next point, Secret 8, the attraction of personal growth. It's easy to believe people are drawn to perfection, to those who seem to have it all figured out. But here's a little reality check. It's not perfection that creates admiration, it's progress. Growth is what sparks curiosity and respect. Think about it. Who would you rather be around? Someone who stays the same year after year, or someone who keeps learning, evolving, and taking steps toward becoming better? People naturally gravitate towards growth because it signals openness, drive, and resilience. Take my friend Daniel, for example. A few years ago, he felt stuck. Same routine, same complaints, same frustrations. One day, he decided to change one small thing. He started waking up earlier and going for a morning walk. It wasn't a life-changing move overnight, but it was a starting point. A few months later, he was reading more, picking up new hobbies, and had a much clearer sense of direction. And guess what? The people around him noticed. Conversations with him became more engaging because he had fresh perspectives, new ideas, and a lighter, more energized presence. Personal growth sends a strong message. I value myself enough to invest in becoming the best version of me. That kind of self-respect quietly earns respect from others. And here's the best part. Personal growth is deeply personal. It doesn't have to be flashy or dramatic. It can be as simple as learning a new recipe, committing to regular exercise, improving your communication skills, or finally starting a project you've been putting off for years. Growth can also mean working through personal challenges, becoming more patient, learning how to stay calm under stress, or handling tough conversations with grace. These invisible victories often have the biggest impact on your overall presence. When you're constantly improving, you bring new energy into every interaction. You become more interesting to talk to, more inspiring to be around, and more capable of building deeper connections. One powerful exercise you can try is reflecting each week on this simple question: what's one small way I grew this week? The answer doesn't have to be huge. Even the smallest progress counts, and over time, it builds unstoppable momentum. And here's a surprising bonus: growth makes you more adaptable. Life throws curveballs, relationships evolve, and people change. When you embrace growth, you stay flexible and curious, rather than fearful or defensive. Next, we'll look at a trait that's less exciting on the surface, but quietly builds the strongest connections: stability. And you might be surprised how overlooked this quality really is. Secret 9. And 9. How stability creates unseen attraction. In a world that celebrates constant change and excitement, stability doesn't always get the credit it deserves. Yet, it's one of the most comforting and quietly attractive traits a person can have. Think about the people you trust most in your life. Chances are it's not the loudest, flashiest people, but those who show up consistently, who follow through on their words, and who stay calm when life gets chaotic. That's stability in action. Let's talk about Alex. Alex wasn't the most outgoing guy in his group of friends. He wasn't the funniest or the center of attention, but whenever someone needed help, advice, or simply someone to listen without judgment, Alex was there. Over time, people started noticing that no matter what was happening, Alex was steady. Friends turned to him for guidance, not because he had all the answers, but because they knew they could count on him. Stability isn't about being boring, it's about being dependable in a world full of uncertainty. It's the quiet confidence of knowing you'll follow through on your promises. It's the calm presence during stressful moments. It's being predictable in the best way, not in your routine, but in your integrity. And this stability translates into every relationship you build. People naturally feel more relaxed and open around those who are steady. It creates a sense of safety and comfort that allows for stronger bonds to form. When you're someone who reacts calmly, handles conflict maturely, and sticks to your word, you automatically become more trustworthy and respected. Another aspect of stability is emotional balance. Everyone has ups and downs, but when you can maintain a calm and supportive attitude, especially during disagreements or stressful situations, it shows tremendous strength. People value those who can stay composed without shutting down emotionally. And it's not just about supporting others. Stability improves your own well-being too. When you create daily routines that keep you mentally and physically healthy, you're less likely to be thrown off by small disruptions. You create a stronger foundation for yourself, which naturally spills into your relationships. It's also important to know that stability isn't about resisting change. It's about being reliable through change. Life is unpredictable, but a stable person adapts while maintaining their core values and calm demeanor. Secret 10, the hidden strength of positivity. Let's end with something that may seem simple, but has a profound effect: positive energy. We're not talking about fake smiles or ignoring hard times. Real positivity is about resilience. It's about choosing to focus on hope, joy, and possibility, even when things aren't perfect. A cheerful mindset lightens the emotional load. It makes hard conversations easier and everyday moments more enjoyable. I once heard someone say, "Being around her just makes me feel better about life." That's the power of quiet optimism. Positivity is contagious, and when it's genuine, it draws people in. So here's a question. Are you creating space for lightness, laughter, and hope in your daily interactions? Because in a world that's often heavy, a little light goes a long way. At the end of the day, these insights aren't about manipulation or playing games. They're about understanding how connection really works and choosing to show up in ways that build trust, appreciation, and warmth. Every person is different, but when you practice listening, curiosity, and kindness, while staying confident and grounded, you become the kind of person people want to connect with. So here's what I'd love to know. Which of these ideas hit home for you? Have you seen any of them play out in your own life? Drop a comment and share your story. I read everyone. And if this helped you see things differently, check out our next video on emotional communication hacks. It might just change the way you relate forever. Until next time, take care, keep growing, and stay curious.